Yes. Hello, my friends. I am Hondo Onaka, and this is Onaka Transport Solutions. Today, I am offering the opportunity of a lifetime.
Hi folks, we're back to talk more about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and where better to start than a look at one of the two headliner attractions in the new land, Millennium Falcon, Smugglers Run. By now we've learned enough about this attraction to give you a pretty good idea what most of the Smugglers Run experience should be like. Now, let's walk you through what you'll likely find right up until the cockpit lights dim and you're ready to take off for your first flight. Just a quick spoiler alert before we get too far. While we don't yet know exactly how this new attraction will work and what it will look like, we do know enough that if you want to be completely surprised by your first Millennium Falcon flight, then you might want to skip this video. You may also want to avoid all Disney-related social media until your next trip. But I won't be offended if you don't want to know what's coming. Just promise me that you'll subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our other videos about Galaxy's Edge. Just click on the little button that looks like this, or this. Now go ahead and watch the rest of the Galaxy's Edge preview videos, since I don't think many folks are worried about shopping, dining, and other entertainment spoilers. Though if you are, then please let me know in the comments so I can add a warning to those videos too. Now let's take a quick trip to see the Millennium Falcon on Batuu. As is often Disney practice, the most eye-catching, iconic feature of Galaxy's Edge isn't readily apparent until the moment that designers believe its reveal will make the most impact. Thus, you won't see the Millennium Falcon when you first land on Batuu, but when you do see the ship, odds are you'll think it was worth the journey. You'll find the Falcon in a docking bay, where ABC News reporter Clayton Sandell notes, the angle of the ship is designed to match how it first appeared on screen in the original Star Wars movie. Our visit to Batuu is designed to be after the events seen in the movie The Last Jedi, so the Falcon should look a little beat up. Disney Imagineer Asa Kalama notes that this is still not the Falcon in peak physical condition. Entertainment Weekly writer Anthony Breznican describes the ship as pocked with blaster burns and its thrusters are gasping to activate. So what's the story behind this new attraction? To explain, you need to know who this guy is. He's Hondo Onaka, and if you ever watched the Star Wars Rebels television series, then you'll likely already know what sort of scoundrel he is. If you're not familiar with Hondo, then you may recognize him from the start of this video, but let's give you a closer look at his character. In the novel Pirate's Price, author Lou Anders describes Black Spire Outpost, where you'll board the Millennium Falcon. It's a place where you'll find smugglers, those of less savory occupations, rogues, opportunists, con artists, thieves, and pirates. Then Anders continues, Hondo Onaka had been all those things and more. We learn later in Pirate's Price how Hondo befriends Chewbacca, and how our favorite Wookiee later loans Hondo the Falcon to help launch his new business, knowing the resourceful pirate will be able to locate a hard-to-find part needed to help complete repairs of the ship. Now, while Hondo always seems to have a way of landing on his feet, you can probably see the sort of trouble you might find yourself in if you choose to be part of one of his schemes. And this is where your Smugglers Run adventure will begin. Actually, your Smugglers Run adventure will probably start with you waiting in a long line. That line will begin with an entrance carved into the side of a mountain surrounding the Falcon's docking bay. Anthony Breznican's Entertainment Weekly article on Smugglers Run explains the line starts at ground level, curves along the back of the Falcon, and from there you climb a set of stairs that leads to catwalks circling the mechanic shop where other ships and engines are under repair. Breznican explains that as we continue in the queue, we will find windows with close-up views of the Falcon. Farther along in the queue, we reach the main maintenance bay, a place where Asa Kalama notes guests will see some of the types of equipment and cargo that Onaka Transport Solutions delivers throughout the galaxy. Kalama explains that much of the cargo may be innocuous, while some is potentially a little less savory. If you want to know exactly what that cargo is, then you'll have a chance to peek inside shipping containers that you see in the queue using the Play Disney Parks smartphone app. and we'll look at how that app will work in Galaxy's Edge in greater detail in a future video. We'll eventually reach the control room for Onaka Transport Solutions, where we'll meet Hondo Onaka in person, and he'll explain what our role in this adventure will be.
Today, I am offering the opportunity of a lifetime. I need flight crews to transport this valuable merchandise across the galaxy. Pilots to navigate, engineers to operate the ship, and gunners to defend the shipments. And that is where you come in.
We'll then see the Falcon move into place so we can step on board. So now it's time for that moment nearly every Star Wars fan has waited for, stepping on to the Millennium Falcon. In a Los Angeles Times article, journalist Todd Martins explains here you'll find a runway ramp that's pumping cold air to recreate the sensation of a spaceport. Disney has recognized that once on board, we'll all want pictures of our own Millennium Falcon visit, and found a clever way to provide that opportunity. As you near the end of your wait to fly the ship, you'll be broken into small groups. As Gizmodo writer Jermaine Lucier explains, you're split into groups of 6, given boarding passes, and invited to spend a few minutes in a waiting area. So what's so great about a waiting area? Let's take a look. You may recognize this room where so many different passengers on the Falcon have gathered over the years. The chess table is there. You can't actually play the game, at least not right now, but you'll have some time to explore the area with your flight crew, press buttons, flick switches, and take all the pictures you want while you wait for a Disney cast member to summon you for your mission. Once your flight is called, you'll walk down a hallway that Todd Martins describes as complete with metal floorboards that clank and echo as if they were hiding something beneath them. Disney Imagineer Robin Reardon explains that this hallway leads toward the Millennium Falcon's cockpit. Then that moment will come when a door opens and you and your flight crew will see the cockpit and controls and look through the windows you've seen so many times before. Writer and Disney historian Jim Hill describes the scene, saying that you're surrounded by 200 working buttons, tags, switches, and that sort of thing. Len Testa, on an episode of his Disney Dish podcast, which he co-hosts with Hill, speculates the different controls you will have may include steering, throttle, brakes, weapons, landing gear, shields, and maybe more. And those controls are designed to look and feel just like you would hope to find at the helm of a starship. Writing for the Press Enterprise, theme park journalist Brady McDonald observes the buttons, knobs, and switches make clicking and beeping and chirping sounds when they are activated. While Jermaine Lucier adds the handle you pull down for light speed has a nice weight to it. So what's the point of all these buttons and switches? Disney World fans who've ridden Mission Space may be familiar with a sophisticated-looking control panel that matters very little when it comes to your overall ride experience. As Asa Kalama explains, Disney Imagineering has been rather adamant that piloting the Millennium Falcon will be very different.
That wasn't enough, right? This idea that you would just get to ride inside the Millennium Falcon. But we actually wanted to give you the opportunity to control the Millennium Falcon. So guests are going to get to load into that iconic cockpit and take controls of the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy. And it's going to be unlike anything we've ever offered our guests before.
Kalama and other Imagineers emphasize that the buttons you press in the cockpit can send the Falcon and your entire ride in very different directions depending on the choices that you make. Of course, it won't just be your choices that matter. You'll be part of a group of 6 people working together to complete a mission. Writing for Paste magazine, Garrett Martin observes that you and the rest of your crew will work together to complete a mission inside a ride that is also essentially a giant immersive video game. And in order to make sure the large-scale video game works, like games you might play outside of theme parks, Imagineers reached out to some of the most successful gaming companies in business today. Martin explains Disney even worked with Epic Games, the creators of Gears of War and Fortnite. Disney hopes the result of this work is a game that's accessible for all guests but still provides challenges to frequent players. Jim Hill said the goal was to create what he describes as a low bar of entry. He explains there's enough stuff in the queue that educates you about what your assignments are that you'll feel comfortable participating. Hill also adds, you can get better at this. You can save the mission. You can become a legend. So what will we actually be doing while in the cockpit? During a recent Star Wars Celebration panel discussion, Asa Kalama explained.
As a pilot, you have the opportunity to either steer the ship left or right or up and down, and it's truly up to you to pilot the ship out of the way of those spires, for example. If you don't, you're going to smash into them, alarms are going to go off, sparks are going to fly, and it'll be up to the engineers in the back of the cockpit to work furiously to keep the ship in working order. We got TIE fighters coming at us left and right. It's up to the gunners in the middle to work those lasers and those blasters to truly defend the ship.
So your crew will consist of 2 pilots sitting in the front of the cockpit controlling the ship, 2 gunners in the second row of seats firing weapons at whatever threatens the ship, and 2 engineers sitting in the back fixing any problems with the ship. Anthony Breznican adds a little more detail about some of these roles, writing, if the gunners don't fire and hit that TIE fighter, then maybe you'll get some shocks and take some damage on the ship, and then you've got to fix it. Breznican continues, flight engineers will have to push the buttons to extinguish fires or redirect power. So we have a pretty good idea what sort of things we'll be doing on the Millennium Falcon, but we don't know much about where we will be going and what sort of trouble we might run into along the way. One piece of concept art that has been revealed shows this menacing squid-like creature, and we also know that we may run into TIE fighters. Asa Kalama notes that because we're joining the crew of a smuggling operation, that we'll likely run into people not happy with our presence, so there will be some conflict. But beyond that, the details of our missions on the Falcon are still a mystery. Robin Reardon did reveal one intriguing fact when in a D23 article at the end of February, she announced that on any day your crew will be the only one that will go on that particular mission that day. Given the number of guests expected to flock to the Falcon every day, that suggests an extraordinary number of different missions. Wherever we end up going, our time on the Falcon will eventually come to an end. Anthony Breznican explains you'll end up right back where you started, writing, when the flight is over and you return to Batuu, you land in the same town square, then descend into the basement of the shipping center. There you'll see the Falcon parked right where you left it. Jermaine Lucier notes that Hondo will evaluate our performance, saying, when the ride is over, Hondo will assess your group and give you your cut of the earnings, a cut that can somehow be used in other parts of the larger story. During Star Wars Celebration 2017, Asa Kalama explained there will be consequences to bringing back a damaged ship. During Celebration 2019, he revealed a bit more about what you may see if you damage the ship during your flight.
Even when it's over, the story continues. So as you make your way out of the cockpit at the end of your amazing smuggling adventure, even that iconic hallway that you make your way through, yeah, I mean, it's going to look different depending on how you fly. If you had a beautiful, clean run, that hallway is going to be in pristine condition. If you've banged into every possible thing there was to bang into and taken, a volley of laser blasts, lights are going to be broken. We're going to hear sparks flying. We're going to hear comm chatter about the incredible damage that you managed to cause to the ship.
Now, if you're worried that damaging the ship and your Star Wars reputation might mean that you won't enjoy the ride, then Disney has taken steps to make sure that's not the case. Asa Kalama explains that no matter what, you'll make it to your destination, while Todd Martins puts it clearly, stating Disney promises little to no learning curve. In the same Los Angeles Times article, Martins also explained that Scott Trowbridge assured him that the ride has to work for those who don't speak English, as well as those who may be deaf. So it appears the attraction aims to be accessible and entertaining to all guests, regardless of how actively they can or choose to participate. Let's cover a few other details before wrapping up this video. Guests must be at least 38 inches tall to ride the attraction, which is 2 inches less than the height requirement to ride Star Tours. Estimates are that the ride itself will last 4.5 minutes, with additional time required to load and unload the cockpit of the ship, with an estimated theoretical maximum capacity of 1,800 guests per hour. Lastly, of all those buttons and switches, only a handful will actually be programmed to affect what happens on the ride. This is a very ambitious ride concept Disney has created, trying to combine simulator technology with sophisticated gameplay, and giving guests the ability to substantially alter their ride experience is something new to Disney, and an idea still in its infancy throughout all of themed entertainment. The balance between making the game aspect of the attraction interesting and challenging the most avid Star Wars fan while remaining entertaining to the ordinary theme park guest presents a challenge. As Disney learns how to operate the attraction, things will likely go wrong from time to time, and some aspects of the game may be sacrificed for the sake of simplicity, but it's exciting to think that we as guests will play a significant role in what happens during our flights. So let's hope that Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run succeeds not only in entertaining visitors to Disneyland and Walt Disney World, but also proves to be the huge jump forward in interactive themed entertainment that Disney hopes it will be. And that completes our look at Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run. You'll find links to all the articles and books mentioned in this video in the description below. To learn more about Galaxy's Edge, please subscribe to this channel to see previews of the dining, shopping, and other headliner attraction and other entertainment coming soon to Disneyland and at the end of the summer to Disney World. Let us know in the comments below what you think of this video, what you'd like to see next in our Galaxy's Edge preview series, and if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see you on Batuu.